Can you just give me more information about this author that, I have to apologize for trying 5 million times to pronounce his surname, but just tell me a little bit of what happened and what brings us here today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Kakwenza Rukirabashaija is a very prominent author in Uganda and a very vocal critic of the government, particularly of President Museveni and his son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba. And he was arrested, really abducted by military officers in December and held incommunicado for 14 days. During which time his family sought redress from the courts, sought an order to have him produced before the courts, and also there was a decision that was made by a magistrate's court to have him released unconditionally, which was ignored by the authorities. Eventually, he was brought before a court and charged with an offense called offensive communication, because the authorities alleged that he had offended the President Museveni and his son by tweets that he had made in December. And so now he's facing criminal charges for those tweets. But also when he came back and said that he had been tortured by the military officers while he was in detention for those 14 days. And he's talked about going through really gruesome experiences, having his flesh plucked out with pliers, being beaten. He's showed his scars on his back and on his legs that really show that he went through a very horrible time. And so that's why we are urging the authorities to do what they're supposed to do, which is to focus on stopping this vice of torture by military officers, which is very prominent in Uganda, prevalent rather, instead of trying to prosecute people for what they tweet. That shouldn't be their focus. It should be on ending torture, which is far more important.
And it also means that then freedom of expression in Uganda is something that is not afforded to the people of Uganda.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, you can be taken to court for what you tweet, which is absurd, particularly in the case of tweets that are directed to our leaders. There's no reason why President Museveni should be personally offended by tweets criticizing him. His skin should be much thicker, and as I said, there are issues that we should be much more focused on in Uganda in terms of the rights of the citizens there, rather than on what critics of the authorities say.
And I think that's a problem that we see in many African countries, right? I mean, we don't see it happening here in South Africa, and I must say we are very fortunate when it comes to that. But this is not the first time we've seen this done. For instance, in Zimbabwe, we've seen it done in Zambia, etc.
So certainly, it's a pattern that is, I think the authorities are recognizing, especially around the internet, realizing that, the internet really provides a platform for normal people to express views that they wouldn't in the past have had a platform for. And so as a consequence, the governments, many African governments are starting to clamp down on internet usage, using laws especially that they pass, which are specifically designed to restrict freedom of expression online. We also see this happening very frequently in Tanzania as well. So it's very problematic and needs to change.
All right, I'm just hoping that somebody will hear you out there. Human Rights Watch researcher Oryem Nyeko speaking to us there about some of the human rights that have been violated allegedly by the government of Uganda.